So I was actually born into the sustainability practice as a feral child in Miami, working on environmental demonstration projects in the 70s as a teenager, and then working as an activist in New Jersey and consulting around the world, helping governments, investors, large companies and small companies find their path to sustainability.
So what have you learned about this industry that's maybe different from others you've helped try to clean up?
So many differences and interesting ones. So again, I come from the world outside the ad bubble, working with, again, international negotiations on climate, looking at country policies, working with multinationals, investors, and most of them are in the, let's say, physical world. And when I developed the greenhouse gas protocol as part of the leadership group with the World Resources Institute and the World Business Council for Sustainable Development, we were fully focused on the physical world. We had no notion of the digital world and weren't even thinking about advertising per se. So as I come in from the outside world, it's interesting that one, strangely, the ad sector seemed to have been asleep and had missed the waves of awareness around climate and how everybody is part of the problem and therefore part of the solution. And so I was amazed that they had not gotten the memo, but when they did get the memo, I think they've taken action very quickly. So that's good news. The not so great news is somehow they thought they had to do it within their own bubble. So there's a lot of reinventing the wheel, not realizing that the rest of the world had already been through this process, sector by sector, and had come up with solutions that are very much applicable to any company in the world, including the ad sector.
Given though that you mentioned so much of what happens in programmatic advertising is not physical, it's software based, what are the big challenges, what are the unique challenges there of trying to clean up that system?
So this is where, again, as an outsider, I thought, oh, digital. They're going to have traceability. They're going to know exactly what happens within that whole value chain. And I was a bit surprised that was not exactly the case. And this is where we do need to have a standard that is specific to programmatic. And I'm part of the Climate Expert Advisory Group for GARM, which is working in collaboration with AdNet Zero to create that standard. But the message has been received as, oh, we don't have a common standard yet. And so therefore, we're just going to wring our hands. And it's like, no, every single organization on the planet can already do their enterprise level greenhouse gas inventory. There are international standards for that. There are verification bodies that will verify your inventory just as you would your financials, so that those numbers are dependable not just for your decision making, but for your stakeholders. So everybody not only can do it, increasingly they must do it because their clients are demanding it and it's becoming a regulatory requirement, particularly for publicly traded companies. And I call this the vertical dimension, the enterprise dimension. And the ad campaign level is more of a horizontal dimension. But if everybody along that value chain in the ad campaign does their enterprise level greenhouse gas inventory and has it verified and publicly reported, then we build up the whole stack of information of reliable data that informs the ad campaign model.
So beyond the enterprise work, though, what would progress look like if programmatic starts tackling these issues?
So again, I'm kind of astounded that even as this message has been going out a bit softly, perhaps a year ago, and now organizations like AdNet Zero said, it's now a requirement. You do have to set science-based net zero targets. And by the way, when you look into the details of that, it means you have to do an inventory. It needs to be verified. And that's the basis for your science-based target. So it's been very soft-pedaled so far, but this is something that should have already happened. So that still is, for me, job number one. In fact, it's work group number one and action number one in AdNet Zero planning. But progress beyond that is, again, having a standard that everybody can use. So there's no black box proprietary models which do not carry any weight whatsoever outside the ad bubble world. So everybody will be using the same approach, the same emission factors database, and they themselves will need to be certified as following the methodology, and then go forth, make money, have a profitable business, add services and value on top of that. But there can be only one common way of estimating emissions.
Lastly, what happens if regulators get involved here, and is that likely?
Absolutely. So regulators are already involved. In France, in the EU, there are reporting requirements. UK also, and actually something that people don't know, as in the United States there actually have been requirements, but these are for major emitters. But the SEC, in fact, it was really hoped that last year this would have come out for any publicly traded company, that they would have to report their greenhouse gas inventory. And in a way that is very friendly, to say, hey, you don't have to get everything perfectly correct, but you do need to submit, and there's a learning process. But the hammer's coming both on the regulatory side, but also on the private sector side through investment and through your end client.